Hello everyone. Hello and welcome to yet another exciting episode of the ShadowCast. I am the Black Shadow, and that of course was heavily sarcastic. But no, in all seriousness folks, and I do thank you guys for coming along to this very important video for Black Shadow Incorporated. I mean, over the course of this video, the discussion that follows and the video following that, well, basically we decided what's going to be going on this channel for the next several months, so you know, quite important. So again, thank you all for coming along and hunkering down. There's plenty for us to get through. But I mean, first of all, I say at the end of every single LP, folks, but it was sad to finally bring an end to Silent Hill 2. You know, having waited so long for it to finally do it, you know, it's sort of almost as soon as it came, it sort of went again, which was quite the shame. But you know, it's just how it is, unfortunately. But we must not look into the past because we have plenty to look forward to in the future, folks. And as I said, there's plenty to get on with here, so we might as well get started straight away. Now, this video is basically the idea of this is we're going to sort of split this into two parts, folks. There's two different things I want to look at here. Now, here's the basic state of play, folks. Now, it is currently beginning of August. Now, the things that obviously we know about is we've got August, September. We come into October, towards the end of October. Of course, we've got the anniversary video. For anyone who perhaps might be more newer to the channel and hasn't been around for that long. About, say, 25th, 26th, I forget the exact date. But towards the end of October, every year I do like an anniversary video, sort of, you know, looking back at some of the better points of the year, you know, and that sort of thing. And there's been a couple over the course of the channel, which I'm sure you can find. The trailer on the front part of the channel page was the very last sort of montagey bit for the last year's video, which I love doing. This montage, they're great fun. But yeah, so that's going in sort of towards the end of October, and then some point after that, probably about maybe sort of November-ish, is when we're due to start the next RPG LP, which is what I'll get to in the second part of the video. But what I want to cover first, folks, is before that. As I say, it's beginning of August. You've got August, September, October, running to November. So that's 3 months worth of time, folks, for LPing. And even when we get into, obviously, RPG territory, obviously we'll be doing side LPs alongside that as well. Just like was the idea of Silent Hill 2, but I figured, wait, it's so long to do it, I didn't want to like delay it with like other LPs. Let's do it fully. Let's give it all the attention of the channel, which is what I thought was the best thing to do. So basically, yeah. So the way we're going to run this is sort of in two parts, folks. So this is going to be the first part. This is basically covering LPs potentially to do before the RPG, basically looking this side of October, in theory, but it will end up being more. Now I have had a big think about what LPs that I would like to do, about some LPs that some of you guys have suggested as well, and trying to balance it up. There's so many things on the plate. Trying to pick, you know, a variety as well, and trying to pick is not an easy job. But I've basically kind of short-tracked, maybe for the moment, about maybe 4 or 5, unless there's like suddenly, you know, all of you guys suddenly shout, "No, we want you to do this," in which case, you know, fine, that's fair enough. But I've kind of sidetracked sort of 4, maybe 5 games that I'm looking to do basically before this year is out, basically. Which I know it's only August, that's looking ahead, but you think how long LPs can be sometimes. And we haven't even got to the RPGs yet, so there you go. So, basically, folks, yeah, so I've sort of shortlisted about 4 or 5 different games that I would like to do beforehand. And like I said, like we've done this before we started, like, Remake, or was it Zero even, GTA 3, that sort of thing. We've done this before. Some of you may well remember, you know, we sort of discussed about it. People gave, I did what I should do. Some people gave sort of orders, or say, no, do this, don't do that, whatever. I'm really not too worried how you guys want to roll it, folks. It seems to be sort of someone thinks of an idea and everyone just tends to follow it. Oh god, I'm not saying anything about it. It's just something I noticed in the last video. So LPs. Now there are a few which well, let's get started. First game that I do want to do, which some people have suggested, and I kind of forgot about, and I thought, oh, best do that soon, is the final Resident Evil game that we have not yet covered, basically, before we move on to the new generation of Resident Evil gaming, obviously the over-top stuff of Resident Evil 4 and that sort of thing, which will be coming, you know, you got my word on that. Just, I want to finish off the old generation first, and we effectively did with Code Veronica. But there was one more game that we missed out, folks, and that was, I believe it's called Resident Evil Dead Aim, if memory serves me correctly, folks. It's a PS1 game. It's I wouldn't say it's a first. Well, it's sort of a first-person shooter-ish. It's kind of a variety of things, but it's based and modelled off the Resident Evil 2 game engine. It resolves. I'm trying to remember now off the top of my head. It's been a while since I've played it. It resolves basically the story of a guy who, well, he's not even sure who the hell he is. We're going down the amnesia route here, folks. It's a lot of fun. But a guy called Ark, who basically he's suffered a really nasty fall in a place, wherever it is, some island. It's always an island, folks. You find once you get out of Raccoon City, it's always a bloody island. But yeah, so he's sort of, and he believes, well, he feels he's basically he's in this place. There's a virus that's infecting the city, and he's pretty darn sure. You know, he says, "Oh my goodness, what have I done?" Because he started the virus. You know, he was the man who was responsible, or at least he thinks he was. And it's the story's a bit convoluted. For I mean, I know that's not saying Resident Evil stories aren't simple, but it is a little convoluted. It takes a bit of seeing the game itself to play it. The game itself, as I said, yeah, it's based off the PS2 model. It is first person, which is very interesting. It's not a rail shooter like Dark Side Chronicles and all that sort of stuff, folks. But it is actual first person shooter, which is very curious. Makes the mechanics for that game very unique. Very, very unique, folks. I believe there was some version of the game you could get like... I forget what they were called, but you know, like I remember the old NES console. You get like the light gun. For those of you who remember back then, the older light guns, you know, you could use like play like Gumshoe and that sort of thing. I know the PS1, I'm sure, had a similar sort of thing you could do that with. Though I don't remember what it was called. You could use that. You could also use the controller pretty competently as well, to be fair. You know, you don't have to worry about that. But it's basically the last Resident Evil game that we have got before we venture into the next generation. And therefore, I feel it's only fair, you know, seeing that we've gone through so many games that it is, for one last final sign-off to the old series before we start the new series. And therefore, that is a game that I do want to do that before we move on to Resident Evil 4 and all that sort of stuff. I would like to do that personally. I feel it's only right and fair to do it all, rather than sort of then suddenly hop back one day and think, oh, I didn't do this, it seems to say. So that's one. The second game on the list, sticking with the horror genre, is a game, or game series even, which I have talked about a few times. I've mentioned about the fact that I have never touched it, but that I've always wanted to. It was a series that I loved to bits. Just looking at it, and I thought it was brilliant. Just seeing it, and watching the trailers and bits and pieces, but I never physically was able to be able to play it myself. Really frustrated me. But now with the world of LPs and emulators, that sort of thing, well, not we just, but myself, I can finally get around to playing the Parasite Eve series. Now, I said again, a few of you guys have mentioned this over the past few months, and I've always said I will LP it because it's a series I really want to play, but I never had the chance to. Therefore, of course, the series will be played blind. because I don't think you'll find too many more blind LPs of it nowadays. I have a funny feeling. But yeah, folks, that is also on the list. Again, it's more survival horror. We've done a lot of it, to be honest. To be fair, recently Silent Hill 2, with the remake specials and all that sort of stuff. So but that's fine. If like I said, some people can do with it a lot, some people can't, and always I'm always doing sort of side LPs of a different genre for those that have, perhaps had just a little bit too much of the zombies for one day. You never know. But that is a series I will certainly be looking to do. I know the first game was on the PS1, and hopefully I'll try and get it running on my emulator, so it'll look a lot better when I record it. But I'll have to tinker with that a little bit. So that's another one. Now, obviously, oh gosh, I'm trying to think of the rest of that. I sort of hadn't sifted out. Oh yes, that were the rest of them. So that's all the survival horror games, as far as that's concerned. I haven't picked many, again, because we've already done a few. So I didn't want to, I know this channel sort of specialises, if you will, in survival horror, but I didn't want to completely flood it with that. I didn't think it was right. So there are a few other games that I sort of sat and thought I really want to do. Some because they're games I want to do, but some of them are because they're sequels to games that we've already done and are still outstanding to do. Like a certain Getaway Black Monday, folks, of course. So the sequel to the original Getaway game that we did not that long ago, actually. It was only a few months back, I think we did that. That was the game we did before Silent Hill 2, wasn't it? Something like that. We did. It was the one after GTA 3. Then we did when we did that, and did Silent Hill 2 start straight after? I don't remember. It doesn't matter. But yeah, folks, the sequel to the original game. It is a good game. Part of me personally always slightly preferred the first game. That was just because of the style of it, and there were just bits that I always loved. That's not to say that the second game isn't a bad game by any stretch. It's not. But it's only a bit more of a different feel to it. And instead of revolving around, gangs going to war with each other and one man's masterminded plot to try and kill everyone, the story takes a much more different focus. And multiple focuses as well, just much like the first game. Mainly resolving around the before, during, and after, in varying levels and sequences. For that matter, it's a bit confusing at times. And revolving around like a major diamond heist, and basically sort of. They're basically, from what I remember, they kind of there was a heist, diamonds were stolen, whatever. Then they kind of went missing a bit. And then, of course, there's all these forces from all across London trying to get hold of them. And then, from the stores, that some of them are there, obviously, kind of like the Collins gang is still around. I think Jamal's still alive, that sort of thing. There's a couple of new groups on the block as well. But also this massive group, sort of Eastern European group, the Scoble group, I believe they were called, also looking to cut their piece of the pie. And they're very, very different feel, much more sort of business orientated, but that doesn't mean they're any more legitimate. Oh goodness me, no. And so that's what it resolves. But it resolves, from the aspect of the gangs involved, and also again, much like the original game, also from the police side of it, and their own stakes in the issues and trying to decipher what the heck is going on. And I know, obviously, we played the first game. I really enjoyed playing that. A lot of you guys did as well, to get a bit of an insight to a world which you don't normally see, especially for you guys over on the other side of the Atlantic. And I hope that the second game will be just as entertaining for you guys too, hopefully. Okay, so that's that one then. What else? There was another one I was going to say, and I've forgotten what that is. Of course. I should have really written them down, but I did remember, folks. Again, another sequel to a game which we did a little while ago, actually. But a sequel that I've been looking forward to doing, and I feel, it's been long enough since we did the first game, and that is Max Payne 2. Now, I know some of you guys were around for the original game, which, although rather raw in Rare's execution of it, was it Rare? I think it was. Or whoever's. Well, it was a bit raw in its execution, but it was a very entertaining game. Had a unique way, of course, of telling the story. And our main character that you can't help but like. You know, if there's anyone around here that hates Max Payne, what's wrong with you? How can you hate that man after all he's been through? I mean, what is wrong with you? Nah, I jest, but yeah, Max Payne 2 follows the original game, where after we had with all the Valkyrie drugs sort of crap and all that sort of thing, you know, and eventually getting to the end of that game and killing the that woman, you know, in charge. I forget what her name was. Head of Azacor, whatever her name was, I forget now. You know, but obviously we kill her. You know, Max gets arrested, that sort of thing, and it follows the story afterwards, because that was hardly the least of his problems. You may remember the guy from the Inner Circle said that he was going to help out Max for killing the lady, and he does. He gets out, and he ends up finding his way back onto the Force. But as soon as he finds his way back on his Force, new problems are arising. The Valkyrie drug has hardly gone away, and forces of both familiar faces and some new ones arising along. Yet another gigantic gang war it conspires. Max ends up finding his way in the middle of it yet again, and he continues to get haunted by a certain woman of the past as well. I forget exactly when we did the original game for that. That was about a year ago, wasn't it? I think so. Yeah, I think it would be really good to be able to carry that on. It's a great story. Yeah, it was always a great story. Max Payne games are good stories. Sometimes the action, you know, it's not everyone's preference sometimes, which is understandable. No, I think they're really good games, and I love the storyboard telling. I always have done. The way of telling the story, I think it's fantastic. And that is one I would really, really love to do before this year is out. And the last one, folks. So that's 4. There's one more that I'm looking at doing. I don't know exactly when to do it, or even if I may, because it's a bit of one of those stabs in the dark. So just doing something a bit different, folks. You know, with everything that we've done lately has been so serious. I did get a request from one person to look at a particular series, and you know, I felt, you know, I hadn't planned on it originally, but you know, like I said, if we've had so many serious games and that sort of thing, it would be nice just to have a game, just to do one, just to enjoy it. You know, a bit like when we were a couple of years ago, when we were obviously in midst of doing Silent Hill 2 when I was poorly. We ended up joining that along with Kirby's Adventure, which I really enjoyed doing. And for anyone who on this channel think, wait, what? You know, I've been around like, wait, what? Kirby's Adventure? Are you kidding me? Yeah, I did do it, folks. It's there. If you look hard enough, you will find it, folks. But much in line of the Kirby idea, no, it's not Kirby's sequel, I'm afraid. Is a different series, but probably one of those classic series of the PlayStation 1 era, which people sort of forget about until you suddenly mention the name of Spyro the Dragon. Now, who here remembers those days, folks, of flying around as a badass dragon, you know, saving the world in his own little way? Oh, it was great fun, folks. Great light entertainment. But quite a challenging game when it really wanted to, folks. I'm sure some of you guys, for those who've played, will have memories of having real trouble with some of the things in this game. It's quite challenging. You know, for a game targeted to a younger audience, there were some seriously tough things you had to do in those games sometimes, you know, which kept things very entertaining. But yeah, it's something I would like to look into. I haven't exactly decided, because there are a few games of the series for PS1. I haven't exactly decided what game of the series I would like to do. I have played the games before a reasonable amount, not for a while, obviously. But no, it's a game series which was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I think pretty much anyone who's ever played a Spyro game has typically enjoyed the experience. And just to break away from, look at the undead are rising, psychological horror, my head's killing me, sort of thing. Just to enjoy ourselves, and just to enjoy a classic PS1 game from an age that feels more and more that it's just gone by. What a shame. But yeah, so that's folks. So those are the 5 I'm looking to do before the end of the year. I mean, of course, if I manage to get all 5 of those done and the year's not over, obviously we'll do some more. But those are the main 5 that I'm looking to have a crack with, especially some personally, I was saying the Paradise Night Eve series. Again, is one that I'm really looking forward to, and I think doing that blind will be really good. I do want to do Dead Aim as well before we start RE, the later RE games. I don't know when they'll be started. It may not be until, I don't know. Considering we've got the RPG as well, I don't think that's going to be probably until beginning of next year. Maybe? I'm not too sure. Up for a bit of debate, naturally. But there we are. So those are the 5. So, like I said, let me know if you think I'm talking complete and utter garbage, then please tell me. And I'll reconsider. But those are the main ones I'm looking to do. The first LP that we do, by the way, folks, it will be done alongside Hogs of War, because me and King Shrike have got plenty of childhood memories of that to share. And obviously, it was to commemorate the passing of Rick Mail. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry I said it. It's sad. I'm really sorry. That was the idea. So the first one will be that there, and then from afterwards, I'll work out how I'm going to do side LPs. It'll be done with some of the stuff I've said, just in what order I don't know. So that's the first lot. Now, the second half of this, and this is where I'm going to stop talking a bit, and I think I'll do things a little bit different, folks. Come November, it's RPG season here at BS Inc. Which is always a fun time. Any of the RPGs we've done have always been a lot of fun. Obviously, good long treks, but a lot of fun. And come November, we're due one after having finished off Grounded 2 last spring, or in the spring, I should say. Now we have got the time for that, but I was thinking, I had sort of provisionally decided there was one game I wanted to do, but then I wasn't so sure. And I figured, if I'm going to ask you guys about, what LPs do sort of standard, why don't I ask you about RPGs? Now, I have, again, there's 3, as it is, there's basically, I've got 3 RPGs, and I do want to do those 3 RPGs in some order. Those are the 3 that I really want to do on this channel, folks. I'm not too fussed what order particularly. They're all cracking games, and they've all got... one of the main features as well of these 3 games, personally, is that they've all got absolutely cracking soundtracks, folks. If you like a good music score in a game, you are going to be completely spoiled for choice here. I swear to the man above, you are going to be so lucky here. But yeah, the hope is sort of to do one sort of start in November, do one sort of next spring, and then the last one I may do come the sort of next sort of autumn, spring, autumn / fall / winter / whatever you want to call it, the back end of the year. But it depends, of course. If everyone thinks it's a load of crap, then I won't do it. So there you go. So the 3 games, what I decided I would do as well, just to be a little bit different, and also because these are going to be long, big LPs, folks. And I want you guys to be as informed as I possibly can. And I also, I've been talking for 25 minutes. I need to rest my voice and get my pie out the oven. I want to have dinner. I figured what I would do is I'd do something a little bit different. I'd introduce the game. But I went and hunted down trailers for all 3 of the actual games, folks. Just for you to make your own judgment of. Just to do something a little bit different, folks. Not all of them, I'm afraid, were of the highest quality, but like in the case of the first game that I'm going to talk about. But unfortunately, for the first one, out of all the trailers I can possibly find, they were either not great quality or they were not great quality and in Japanese. They basically were not very good quality, folks. I tried my best, I really did, but I do apologise. Okay. So, RPG number uno is an RPG that has been mentioned and requested on this channel a couple of times. I will tell you right now, if we do undertake this, / when we do undertake this, this may well be the longest LP that this channel may possibly ever see, if not for a very long time. The game is ginormous. How on earth they managed to cram Final Fantasy XII onto a single PS2 disc, I may never know, but the game is huge. Absolutely massive, folks. It is staggering. If you have not played the game, it is just... you don't understand. I mean, it has... I mean, I'm happy to say, folks, it does have Final Fantasy XII, in all the years that I have played video games, Final Fantasy XII personally has the single longest time spent on a save file in any game I have ever played. And I don't play a lot of literal single save file that I played on a game, folks. Final Fantasy XII, I think it went at about 160 odd hours I spent on a single save file, a single playthrough, folks. And I still didn't 100% it. There was like 3 things that I didn't get round to doing, folks. The game is just unbelievably massive, folks. But that's... and thus the LP itself will be decidedly long as well. A real trek, to be fair. But it's a wonderful game. A story which not everyone got all of the time, which I can understand a bit. But a wonderful game, a great slew of characters, to be fair, in it as well. And to be fair, folks, in my opinion, not a huge amount of people played sort of like Final Fantasy 11, but especially when it came to Final Fantasy 12, it was kind of that point in the series where you kind of realised that the creative force behind it sort of felt that the way forward for the Final Fantasy series was no longer the the stand in a line, attack that guy, taking turns thing. That sort of those days have basically come to an end by Final Fantasy 12, and obviously coming to 13, which we've got now. Final Fantasy 14, which is obviously again that sort of style. The style of 12 more so, I suppose. But yeah, it's a great game. It's a wonderful story, and to be honest, it's been a long time since I've played a game which has felt so much like I'm watching a movie. So I have managed to track down the best quality trailer that I could find. It's not the greatest, I'm afraid, and I can assure you when we get round to actually playing the main game that the quality of that will probably be a little bit better. But I do apologise, folks. The trailers for all these games did come out about 8 years ago, so, there we are. So sit back and enjoy for the next couple minutes of plays while I am going to go get my pie out of the oven. 2 seconds.
The king intended all along to sell Dalmasca to the Empire. His Majesty was a traitor.
But the war is over, my dear captain.
Why? What have you done?
Is it with hatred you look upon your consul? With hatred you look upon the Empire?
You will be avenged.
I will fight this profitless battle no more.
I give you my word. That was not the way of it.
What do you care about Dalmasca? Everything that's happened is because of you!
You're a sky pirate, aren't you? Then steal me. Is that so much to ask?
Sky pirates, the future of Dalmasca will not be stolen.
And should I espy war, I am to put her to the sword.
After what you've done, how dare you?
The king, did you? Were you really a part of it?
Who are you, Vossler, to talk of trust? Don't leave me here.
Then what does your majesty propose we do?
And so House Solidor lives on.
Nethicite?
Unlike regular magicite, nethicite absorbs magical energy. Ah, we found it at last. True day-affected nethicite.
Sword in hand, she lays to rest her foes. This nethicite I hold must be my sword.
Stay away! Power needy you!
She was taken not by the Dawn Shard. Manufactured nethicite.
It is the nethicite of which you dream.
I require something far greater.
Too late, and to their sorrow do those who misplace their trust in gods learn their fate.
The power of men and of magic. It is often those who desire nethicite whom the nethicite itself desires.
Well, I'm happy to report that my pie has come out and it's actually really freaking tasty. Super. So folks, I'll tell you what, actually, I could get used to this, actually, you know, sort of, so eating it and sort of watching it. So it's like movie night with the Black Shadow. I like it. Haha. Okay then, folks, so that was, that's Final Fantasy 12 for you. I mean, it's like watching a real movie trailer, that, folks. It's like freaking episode of like watching Star Wars or something like that. Some craziness. Oh dear. So that was Final Fantasy 12, but of course, not all RPGs get that really epic cinematic feel. But to be honest, not all of them necessarily go for that. Some RPGs, a bit like when we played Grandia 2, have a much more light-hearted feel to them, and it's not so much about spectacle as it is about just the pure story of it, you know, and of the components to make it up. And that leads me somewhat to a game which I have some of the most fondest childhood memories I possibly have of any game I have ever played. Ever. And it was a game that I loved to death. I couldn't stop myself playing it sometimes. It was so much fun. And hopefully, as you guys listening in, one or two of you may know have heard of this game. As it goes by two names, to be fair, depending on what side, again, of the Atlantic you're on, folks. But the second RPG on the list is of Dark Chronicle, also known as Dark Cloud 2, if you're living in the US of A. Much less Final Fantasy, I suppose a little more Kingdom Hearts, if you really wanted to think of it that way. Dark Chronicle is a superb game. It really is. I know over the course of this channel, I have covered one or two of those diamonds in the roughs, folks. This has got to be one of them. Honestly, folks, I just couldn't help playing it, to be honest. The most amazing thing, aside from the music was great, was just the side characters of the story. Every one of them felt like they had a really important role in the game, which they did. The story itself surrounds two people officially. A young boy called Max, and ironically a young girl called Monica. Now the story is a little bit to and fro to start off with, folks. The first 3/4 of the game is actually spoken in past tense. A bit a la Final Fantasy X, actually, if you think about it. A lot of that game was actually spoken past at the start with. It's a clever tactic. But it surrounds, Max, a boy from a wealthy family, but who was no one who never wanted to use that position or the power that it granted. Just more than happy just tinkering with machines with his old man, not officially his old man, but I suppose the old man of the game, a guy called Cedric. Now recently, his mother had disappeared, and Max and his mother, he'd been given hold of a certain necklace, which had a really big red stone in it, folks. This red stone, it weighed a heck of a ton, but he was told to always wear it, strictly never to ever let it go by his parents. Not too long after that, the local circus troupe visited the town of Palm Brinks, a town where no one went outside. There was a set of gates, but they had been sealed long ago by the mayor. What was outside? No one really knew anymore. But the local circus troupe, they come into town, performing their the usual stuff. But over the course of the time spent there with Max trying to get into there, he realises that that little red stone that he's got is a heck of a lot more important than he realised. And over the course of the game, he goes on. Well, he'll actually tell you during the course of the game how fantastic an adventure it is. I find it quite insane. I swear it must have been a running joke or something like that. But it really is a great character. Much like the original Dark Cloud series, it also features elements quite unique to it. In particular, the diorama system. For those of you who know, for those of you who don't know, yeah, look it up. It's gonna be easier than me trying to explain. It's gonna be a mess. Yeah, the diorama systems, lots of little bits of side games to do, and to be honest, it was just so much fun to play. Again, one of those sort of light-hearted sort of nature games, not, Final Fantasy VIII, conspiracies, all that sort of stuff. That wasn't how we rolled in Dark Chronicle. It was much more about enjoying the experience, just sapping in everything the game had to offer, and just having a really cracking good time. That, and you just absolutely have to dig Monica's hair. I mean, it is awesome. Absolutely epic, folks. So, so the second trailer you're getting to see is one I've slightly cooked up myself. I've kind of put two bits together. But this is the slightly self-made, I'm only saying slightly, folks, trailer for Dark Chronicle.
Dear Mother, how are you? I'm doing fine. So much has happened that I don't know where to start. Well, I guess it's easiest to start at the beginning.
Like I said, folks, that hair is amazing. Oh, I love it a bit, folks. Just like the game, you only need to see it to understand. It doesn't take itself all that seriously, folks. But again, so much fun. That lots to do. So with all that, folks, there is but one game left. And some of you guys might be able to guess what's coming up here, as it was the original idea of LP that I was going to be doing in a couple months' time. But I figured I'd throw it up in the air and just see how things landed, folks. And that is a game that I've mentioned several times. Quite a landmark game as well for the series. It is Final Fantasy X. The first Final Fantasy game to grace the next generation console of PS2 after Final Fantasy IX being the last one on the PS1. And my goodness, did they take advantage of the new powers that had been given to Square? They took huge use of them, folks. They really did. And suffice to say, they generated, in my opinion, probably one of the best Final Fantasy games that they ever did. Honestly. Again, another massive game. So, like a lot of these RPGs, you know, there's so much you can do in them. And again, the graphics for the time were outstanding. The story, again, another one of those where if you don't really follow it really closely, sometimes you get a bit lost. But that's why I'm here. And you know, an alternate battle system. Obviously, they had the games have been using the ATB system up until Final Fantasy 9, which still used it. But Final Fantasy 10, they took a slightly different slant on the ATB system, and instead they brought in I forget what it was called, but it was kind of similar, except, well, I forget what it's called now. Oh, Shadow, you should remember this. Play the game to death. No, it wasn't real time battle. That's like Final Fantasy 13 and stuff. I forget now what it's called. I do apologise. That's really professional, isn't it, Shadow? Great job. But yeah, they took a different slant on the game itself. The main cast, a lot of fun. The game does as well feature possibly one of my favourite game characters in video gaming history. The man in red, and of course anyone who's been there knows exactly who I'm talking about. Absolutely love him to death. And yeah, folks, again, just what you expect from a Final Fantasy game, you know, a very good story if you can get your head around it sometimes. A slew of stuff to do, and a fantastic journey, folks, and a really good story, and also probably one of the better villains that I think that Final Fantasy ever managed to produce, folks. And I'm not talking about that guy, folks. No, I'm talking about that giant freaking thing bent on killing everyone. But as it turns out, folks, it's not just a giant freaking thing trying to kill everyone. Oh no. It means a heck of a lot more to the main character of our story. Now, I was tempted to, again, I was looking for, you know, obviously the what to do with regards to you know, trailers and that. But to be honest, I didn't really think a trailer was suitable, folks. Because to be honest, when I played this game a lot, I didn't remember any of the trailers for the game. There was one scene, which has stuck out with me since the moment I touched that game, folks. And I think if you're ever going to have any kind of trailer for a game, it should be that. So, folks, I'll leave you to enjoy what probably one of the most awesome opening cutscenes, basically opening cutscenes, to a game that I've ever seen. It gives me goosebumps whenever I watch it. And it shows you that it may be a Final Fantasy game, but heavy metal can still find its way in sometimes, folks. Enjoy Final Fantasy X. Oh god, even watching it there, folks. Oh man. Oh, I just love that scene. One of the most memorable scenes to an RPG that I have ever had the grace of seeing, folks. Absolutely brilliant. But there we go, folks. So I'm afraid that brings us to an end, movie night with the Black Shadow, folks. And now it's in your hands. Sorry, I changed a bit of pie there. So folks, so basically, like I say, so this is how we stand. So 2 parts of it. We've got the first part of LPs that I'd like to do before the year is out, ideally. And we covered, what did we cover? Obviously, we covered Resident Evil Dead Aim. We covered Max Payne 2, Getaway 2, Black Monday, Parasite Eve series, obviously starting with Parasite 1, and also a game from the Spyro series as well. And then we've got what RPG we should be doing, which personally, well, I don't think personally it's not an easy choice between Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy 12 and Dark Chronicle. I suppose I've got personal favourites, I suppose, but they're all quality titles. They all really are superb titles, folks, and it'll be a pleasure to bring any one of those to you guys. So, like I say, I'm taking this out of my own hands, and I'm going to place it in yours, folks. Please let me know what you think. Either in the comments section below. I'm going to leave this open for probably a couple days. I'll probably address this again, say Friday, maybe Saturday. Where we'll come to a decision of what I'm going to do. But I'm going to leave this open for you guys to have a nice old debate on the comments. I will be keeping an eye, of course, seeing what people say and commenting as per usual to everything else and just seeing how we go. But as I say, that's where I'm going to leave it. The fate of BSC for the rest of the year is basically in your hands, folks. So please choose wisely. And if you don't speak, then you got no say, unfortunately, as well. So I please encourage you all. You know, even if it's just one line, do this and that. That's fine enough for me, folks. Honest. But with that, I'm going to bring an end to this somewhat mammoth update video. But I hope you've enjoyed it nonetheless. So I thank you all for watching. I'll thank all of those of you who will be commenting. And with that, I'm going to tuck into my pie before I go to bed tonight. So thank you all very much for watching. Look forward to hearing back from you, and I will see you again officially in a couple of days or so, where we will be announcing the results. So I will catch you all then. Ta-ta for now.